All right, so you know the drill with new phones, right? Every year, the tech world gets all hyped up for the next big thing. We're talking new designs, way faster chips, incredible cameras. But what happens when a company puts out a new phone that's, well, not really new at all? It looks like that's exactly what's going on with Google's latest Pixel, and we're going to dive right in. So here it is, the new Google Pixel 10a. Now, on the surface, this is the latest phone in their super popular A series line. You know, the one that's supposed to give you all those awesome premium features, but at a price that doesn't totally break the bank. And that really brings us to the main event, the central question of this whole thing. I mean, in an industry that's literally built on constant change and innovation, what exactly is the upgrade here? What's new? Yeah, and look, when one of the absolute biggest names in tech reviews, Marques Brownlee, says something like this, you just know we're not talking about your typical yearly phone refresh. This isn't just some minor update. This is something else. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start by just looking at the hardware. Just how new is this brand new Pixel anyway?
All right, take a look for yourself. On the left, you've got last year's phone, the Pixel 9a. And on the right, the brand spanking new 10a. And yeah, at first glance, you'd be totally forgiven if you couldn't tell them apart.
And there's a good reason for that. Physically, they are almost identical. I mean, we're talking the same aluminum sides, the same plastic back, the exact same button layout. It's all here. It's even got the exact same 5100 milliamp hour battery and the same IP68 water resistance. Even those flush dual cameras? Yep, a direct copy from last year. Okay, fine. So the outside is basically the same, but the real changes, they've got to be on the inside, right? The guts of the phone? Well, let's play a little game of spot the difference with the spec sheet and find out. All right, as you can probably see, the list of differences is, well, there isn't one. The chip? It's the same Tensor G4. RAM and storage? Still 8 gigs and 128 gigs. The cameras, the display, even the price it launched at, it is all identical to last year's phone. And this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't some small iterative update. For all intents and purposes, it's basically a re-release of the exact same phone we got last year. All right, now, to be totally fair, it's not literally the exact same piece of hardware. Google did put out an official list of changes. So let's take a look at the upgrades they decided to highlight. Okay, first up, the display. Now, the size and the resolution are identical, but the new screen is apparently about 10% brighter when you crank it all the way up. Next, we've got the peak charging speed. It gets a little bump here. It can now charge at a max of 30 watts, which is up from 23 watts on last year's phone.
And hey, wireless charging also got a tiny increase. It's moved up from 7.5 watts to a slightly quicker 10 watts.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the official list, we're talking slightly stronger glass, more recycled materials, satellite SOS support in some regions, and a camera bump that is now completely flush instead of just mostly flush. Seriously, that is the entire list of hardware changes.
So all of this just begs the question, what could Google have done to make this actually feel like a real upgrade, a true successor?
I mean, there were some really obvious fan-requested upgrades just sitting there on the table. They could have added Pixel Snap magnets, for a whole ecosystem of accessories. They could have finally bumped the base storage up to 256 gigs, which is pretty much becoming the standard now. Or, and this is the big one, they could have just put in their newer, faster Tensor G5 chip. I mean, upgrading the processor has been the one constant for the A series for years, which makes it even weirder that they didn't do it this time. So if the hardware is basically a carbon copy of last year's phone, why does this thing even exist? Well, if you look at it from Google's perspective, the answer isn't in the metal and the glass. It's all in the software. So what's Google's whole argument then? Well, they're leaning all the way in on this idea of a software-defined phone. See, the 10A gets all their latest AI magic. Stuff like auto best take to fix your group photos so everyone's smiling, a camera coach that helps you take better pictures, and a big one, seamless quick share with Apple devices. And of course, this is all on top of those classic Pixel features everyone loves, like call screening and Hold for Me. And here's the real kicker, the big selling point. Google is promising a full 7 years of software and security updates for this phone. So the idea is you're not just buying a piece of hardware for today, you're buying into an ecosystem that's going to be supported and updated well into the 2030s.
Okay, but even if it is all about the software, why release a whole new physical phone? Why not just keep selling the 9A? Well, this brings us to a really fundamental, kind of weird cycle in the tech industry. It's basically this thing called the annual tech routine. It's this sort of unwritten rule that says big tech companies have to release a new model every single year, just to have something new on the shelves, whether there's any real meaningful innovation to justify it or not. And the business logic behind this is actually pretty simple. Look, while you might not be upgrading your phone every year, someone out there definitely is. Every single year is somebody's third or fourth year with their old phone, and when that person finally walks into a store to get a new one, they want to buy the new model, not the one from last year. And this quote just perfectly captures the whole vibe of this launch. It feels less like they're trying to push the boundaries of technology and more like they're just fulfilling an obligation, you know? Just doing the thing they always do because, well, that's what the market expects. So at the end of the day, look, the Pixel 10a is a perfectly good phone, especially for someone who's upgrading from a device that's 3 or 4 years old. But its existence really forces us to ask a much bigger question. As the innovation in actual physical hardware starts to slow down, maybe it's time for the whole industry to think about breaking this relentless annual upgrade cycle. What do you think?